Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I want to talk about cheating. Now, all of us know someone who has been cheated on, and some of us have been there ourselves. I damn sure have. I want to talk about the link between childhood and infidelity, because a lot of people don't know that things that happen to you in your childhood can actually make you more prone to become a cheater. First, we need to talk about the 3 different type of attachment styles in a relationship. If you don't know what an attachment style is, it's basically the way that your mind works while you're in a relationship, or the way that your dynamic is. So there are 3 different types of attachment style. There is securely attached, anxiously attached, and avoidantly attached. Now, securely attached is exactly how it sounds. It means that you're secure, stable, and you're in a healthy mind state when you're in a relationship. Now, anxiously attached means that you are clingy, you are dependent upon your partner, and usually that means the relationship is going to be dysfunctional. And then the 3rd type is avoidantly attached. Now, avoidantly attached are the people who get in a relationship, but they never fully connect with their partner because they have a fear of intimacy. They have a fear of getting close to people. Like, have you ever dated somebody who in the beginning everything's fine and things are going well and things are going smooth, and then the minute you start catching feelings for them or you express that feeling for them, they all of a sudden like change up and they become distant, they kind of fall back? Now, that could happen because they are a manipulator and they're purposely doing that. Or what it could mean is that they have an avoidant attachment style, and once those feelings started getting involved, they subconsciously get afraid of getting close to you, and then they kind of push you away and back off. Avoidantly attached is what we're going to be focusing on in this video, because studies show that avoidantly attached people tend to cheat more than any other type of attachment style. Avoidantly attached people tend to be less committed to their partners. Their eyes wander more than the average person's does. They have a very relaxed attitude towards cheating, and they have no real connection with their partner, so they don't really care, or they don't really have a fear of losing their partner, so the next step is going to be cheating, basically. Now let's get into how people become avoidantly attached. Usually this happens during childhood, and it could stem from either getting abused or being abandoned. When I say abuse, I mean when a child is trying to express themselves to their parent, and their parent is constantly shooting them down or constantly making them suppress their emotions because the parent reacts in a way that's not loving and welcoming. So the child then learns that whenever I have a certain feeling, I better suppress it. If I don't suppress it, then my parent's going to be upset. Now, just like anything else in life, the more that you practice something, the better you get at it. So if in childhood you're constantly suppressing your negative emotions and you're not given a safe space to express them, then naturally as you get older, you're going to always suppress your emotions, even into adulthood. Being forced to suppress your emotions as a child and then carrying that with you into adult definitely does lower your self-esteem. It makes you feel like what you have to say is not of importance. So subconsciously you start to beat yourself up, or you don't think very highly of yourself. And also, when you're constantly forced to suppress your emotions, it creates this mental state where you start to naturally suppress your feelings. Like, the negative emotions are still coming, but they get suppressed so quickly that your mind doesn't even have time to process them consciously. So you're feeling something, but you don't have the ability to express how you feel. You don't even know how you feel because it's getting pushed back into your subconscious so quickly, your conscious mind can't formulate it into words. So the emotions are definitely still there. The negative emotions, you still feel them, but you can't express them, and you don't even know why you're feeling the way that you feel. Now let's talk about abandonment. Abandonment is pretty straightforward. If a parent left a child in childhood, the child can feel inadequate, like they're not worthy of love because their parent left, and then in turn, as they grow older, they don't want to connect with their partners, and then they develop the avoidant attachment style. And that low self-esteem runs really deep. It's embedded into the subconscious mind, and so they forever feel like they're not good enough. That's why you'll tend to see people say, oh yeah, when people cheat, they cheat down, which I don't really like to say that, because I don't really like to compare the worth of human beings, like one is up, one is down, but for the sake of this video, you know what I mean. Or cheating down also could mean that they cheated on a healthy partner who actually loved and cared about them to somebody who doesn't really care too much for them. And that happens because of that subconscious belief that they're not good enough. So they cheat down because subconsciously that's what they feel like they deserve. And also they are sabotaging a good relationship because they don't feel like they are even deserving of that good relationship. And that, like I said, that all happens on a subconscious level. Now, aside from actually experiencing the abuse, if a child witnesses abuse when they're growing up, that can also cause them to have an avoidant attachment style. So if they grew up in a household where maybe the father was cheating on the mother and they saw that the pain it caused the mother, not to be biased with genders because anybody can cheat, but for the sake of this video, if they see their father cheating on their mother and their mother is constantly crying or in a state of pain, that child can think in their head, I never want that to be me. Like, I don't want to ever experience that pain. So then they grow up and instead of being the victim, they decide that they want to be the cheater instead. Or they just never really get that close to people because they grew up seeing that type of pain, and then that leads to them cheating anyway. And also, if a parent keeps taking back another cheating parent, the child can then start to see this cycle and think, okay, that's okay. It's okay for you to leave your family and go get your needs met elsewhere. And children are smarter than people give them credit for. They can observe and absorb all of this even at an extremely young age. So seeing cheating in their household plays a factor in whether or not they become a cheater as well. Okay, so let me tell a quick story just to illustrate what this cheating cycle might look like. I'll make the main character in the story a woman just so there's no bias, even though studies do show that men tend to cheat more than women do. Just saying. So we'll name the main character Miranda. Okay, so when Miranda was a child, her father walked out on her and her mother, just completely abandoned them. And her mother was extremely emotionally abusive. So whenever Miranda would try to express any type of negative emotion, or whenever she would express her feelings in general, her mother would hit her, send her to her room, or just tell her to be quiet and shut up. Naturally, the only smart thing for Miranda to do would be to suppress her emotions from there forward, because she now knows that expressing them comes with a negative emotion. And like I said earlier, anything that we practice enough, even if we're not consciously practicing it, we're going to get good at, we're going to perfect and master. So Miranda is basically practicing suppressing her emotions from childhood into adulthood, to the point where when she's an adult, she doesn't even realize that she's doing it because she's been doing it for so long. The combination of her mother being abusive and her father abandoning her has left Miranda with very deep internal scars, and she has a very extremely low self-esteem. So when Miranda grows up, she gets into a relationship with a nice guy, and at first everything is going well. But then as they start to get closer and their relationship gets deeper, basically Miranda starts to act out. She starts to cause petty little problems. She starts drama where there need not be any drama, and the guy she's dating is completely confused because he doesn't understand where all of a sudden this is coming from, because everything was good in the beginning. Miranda cannot explain to her partner what's happening because she doesn't even know what's happening. It's all on a subconscious level. So she's still in a childlike mental state where she is suppressing these emotions to the point where now her emotions have been buried for so long she doesn't even know how to identify them. Like, she's still feeling the emotions, but consciously she can't put them into words because they're so far back into her subconscious mind. Now, I want to point out that just because Miranda has trust issues does not mean that she does not crave love. In fact, in the deepest part of her subconscious, she's crying out for love. And she doesn't know that, so she can't express it. So what manifests instead is poor behavior and her pushing her partner away. So now Miranda has pushed her partner away. They're arguing over petty little bullshit pretty much. And then Miranda feels like she has to go and get her needs met elsewhere. Again, this is all done on a subconscious level. She's not consciously doing this. It's just the power of the subconscious mind. Anything that's in your subconscious is going to drive your actions without you even knowing it. So Miranda goes to try to fulfill her needs with another guy. Now, naturally, this guy is a step down from her partner. This guy is disrespectful. He's basically an asshole. He doesn't do much with his life. He's not a good person. But Miranda is going to cheat with this guy. And why is that? Because subconsciously, she feels like that's the guy that she deserves. Now, Miranda's relationship with this new guy is an emotional affair. Nothing has happened physically yet. And this emotional relationship is fueling Miranda with a lot of attention and love that she's craving. And she's obviously not getting that at home, only because she's the one starting the problems at home. And also, while she's in this emotional relationship with this other guy, it temporarily masks the issues that she has going on in her own household. So naturally, Miranda's going to end up having sex with this guy. I mean, in the words of Tony Childs, first we give up our hearts, then we give up our parts. After she becomes physically intimate with this new guy, she's definitely pulling back from her partner at home. And her partner at home can sense something's going on. He might even know that there's a new guy in the picture. And so her partner gets extremely clingy and needy and desperate, which we tend to do when we're in love with somebody whose attention is starting to shift elsewhere. And that works to his disadvantage, because the more he begs and pleads for Miranda to act right or to explain to him what's wrong, she sees him as beneath her. Like, basically him being so needy and clingy and begging her to stay, pretty much, it reminds her of herself as a child, if that makes any sense. He's putting himself in a position where he's being victimized, and she was a victim as a child, but she has suppressed that, and so he's basically providing a mirror to her own childhood trauma, and now she's ready to completely be done with him. So then Miranda ends up leaving her partner, and she starts dating the guy that she's cheating with. But naturally, after she gets in a relationship with the guy that she's cheating with, the cycle's going to start all over, because the problems are within Miranda and she doesn't realize it. So every relationship that she gets in, she's going to cheat, and then she's going to leave, and then cheat and leave, rinse, repeat. Okay, so that pretty much sums up how our childhoods can actually turn us into serial cheaters. My advice for anyone watching this video would be to pay attention to your spouse's upbringing. If they do have an abusive background, that's not to say that they're definitely going to become cheaters, because they might not, but just know that there's a chance. Pretty much keep your eyes open and be able to connect the dots when you meet their family or you hear stories about their childhood, because it really could play a role in the way that they treat you. And if you are a cheater and you can't figure out why you are a cheater, then I hope that this video set off some alarms in your head, and that you thought back to your childhood and maybe connected to why you act the way you act in relationships, and then in turn you can fix yourself or you can heal yourself. Because if we're not aware of our problems, then we can't fix our problems. So once you do become aware, then your next step is towards healing. And like I said, not everybody who goes through child abuse becomes a cheater. Some become extremely empathetic and they would never cheat on their partners, but you just never know which way the wind's gonna blow. So just keep your eyes open, stay woke, and pay attention. Alright guys, so that is the end of the video. Subscribe down below if you have not already. I'll leave the link to my last few videos down there also in the description bar, because some of the things that I say in this video relate directly back to some of the points I make in my other videos. Alright guys, so thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.